What Remains of Edith Finch. ¿Qué tal? Bienvenidos a un Gamer Mod, los acompaña Omar y pues vamos a jugar este juego que pues la verdad siempre he escuchado buena referencia en cuanto a lo narrativo. Pues vamos a ver qué tal está. Edith Finch.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you.
Muchas gracias. Muchas de estas cosas.
I'm just going to start at the beginning with the house.
Hey. Empezaré por el principio, por mi casa. A ver qué hay aquí.
My brother Milton disappeared when I was 4. It was like the house just swallowed him up.
Vale, su hermano desapareció.
Someone had put up a chain link fence, but it looked like I wasn't the first person to hop it.
Alguien había puesto una cerca de alambre.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Viví aquí hasta los 11 años, pero no me dejaban entrar a la mitad de los cuartos. Vale. Ahí vamos al pasito.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Facturas de 7 años. Traigo ahí un collarcito.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Los Finchos. Ok, por allá se puede bajar y por acá también se puede avanzar. Lo único malo es que va paso a pasito.
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
Ahí está el dueño de las pezuñas, ¿no? Marcadas. Pero ahora ya me dio curiosidad qué fue lo que dejamos allá abajo.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
Ok, un misterio familiar. Ah, la casa está algo peculiar, ¿no? La camioneta viejita. A ver, es que creo que por acá también podía llegar. Vamos a ver si tiene algo que contarnos este
The woods
cabrón.
around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something but never do.
Aquí hay otro cartel de su hermano perdido. Aquí es por donde hubiéramos bajado. Hola. Ahí hay más carteles.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
Vale. Washington.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Miedo de la casa. ¿Tenían mascota? Se ve aquí una puertita, ¿no?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Bueno, no entendí por qué. Yo andaba curioseando, ¿no? Igual y pude haber ido a la puerta principal, pero... pues se ve todavía bastante surtido. No sé qué habrá pasado, ¿no? Una hielera. Esas alberquitas. Y el auto ahí guardado, ¿no? Pero pues también estaba la camioneta, entonces tenían doble carrito.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
¿En qué se marcharon quiénes?
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home. But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
Solo había recuerdos de uno. Edith and Louis. Pongo la mamá, la abuelita, su hermano que había desaparecido, ¿no? O ese es otro hermano. No me queda claro.
Like how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Vale. Así hay un montón de salmón. Ah, Eddie era como la
The table
abuelita.
was still a wreck from the night we left.
Destrozada la noche que nos marchamos. ¿Hubo una pelea o...? El vino está tirado. Ah, tenía su oxígeno. Escuchan ruiditos.
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great-Grandma Edie living in a nursing home.
Si a la mamá quería mandar a... Pero era la bisabuela, entonces era
It
la
was like a
abuelita.
bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
Se ve el mar. Viven como que muy en la costa.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Como que se ve peculiar el diseño, pero pues está bonito, ¿no? Ahí se ve unas estatuas. ¿Quién sabe si podremos ir allá después?
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
La mesita es un pedazo de tronco. Halloween, ¿no? Vamos a ver este. Barbara.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
Barbara Finch. Ok, vamos a seguir recorriendo.
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
Milton, sí, era entonces otro hermano que desapareció. Esta era la puerta principal, o sea, me imagino que tenía que ¿Ya está cerrado?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Es la biblioteca. Pero no podemos pasar. Entonces ahora es ir hacia arriba o acá.
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
Ok, tampoco podemos pasar acá. Entonces el único lugar disponible es hacia arriba. Ah, mira, una sillita. Yo creo que aquí estaba la bisabuela, ¿no? La usaba la bisabuela.
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
Sí, ¿quién sería? Molly.
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
Ah, o sea, dejaban sus habitaciones como si fuera una especie de altar. Vamos a ver qué más hay por acá. Barbara Finch.
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara. Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
Es el cuarto de Barbara. Murió en el 60.
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it.
Ah, entonces no era una directora, eso era una actriz infantil.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
Ok, aquí tampoco hay acceso. Y acá... Sven y Eddie.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Ya pintaba, era artista. Gregory. ¿Quién es Gregory?
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
Esto nada más se ve como un baño. Y no dijo nada de Gregory, ¿no? Calvin.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Vale, pues todo de momento cerrado. Una casa llena de recuerdos. Una familia de esas como que con tradición, ¿no? Que... Y este no está sellado.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
Pero pues realmente aquí no hay nada.
Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
La llave es para este candadito.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets. Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
Milton. Vale, ¿y acá qué hay?
But I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Molly, es la habitación de Molly.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage. Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Peluche de medusa. Una estrella la estaba como observando. Molly Finch.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
Estamos como reviviendo sus recuerdos, ¿no? Ahora somos Molly. Ella tiene un pececito.
I kept eating and eating.
Tiene como marquitas las manos. Esa noche me comí.
I ate a lot of things that night. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it. Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
Se va a salir por la
And
ventana.
suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Ok. ¿Cómo llegamos a la vecilla? Ah, yo creo que íbamos bien por ahí. Hay que subir acá. Ajá.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Están ahí nada más. Ahora, ¿dónde es? Ah, está acá arriba. ¿Y ahora cómo llego acá arriba? Bien, bien. Ahí está su nido.
I jumped and I almost got her.
Movernos por acá. A primero acá al banco.
I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
Vale.
I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Hay que buscar el conejitos. No, 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 no. Ahí está.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Vale. A buscar qué ahora. ¿Qué andamos buscando?
A mama rabbit.
Una mamá conejo.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
Vale, un tiburón rodando por la montaña. Vamos, creo que tenemos que caer. Ah, vale.
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Ok. Acá sigue la pobre foquilla.
I grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
¿Y ahora qué es?
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere. was big, but I moved real quiet.
Ok, supongo que quieres seguir comiendo.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. After the last passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
Seguimos siendo el monstruo.
I got closer and closer.
Estamos otra vez en la habitación de Molly.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
Supongo que hay que conocer a toda la familia hasta llegar a Edith, que es la protagonista, ¿eh? Cuidado.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Supongo que por aquí vamos a poder pasar a otra de las habitaciones, ¿no?
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
La habitación de Edie.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Este es el baño que se veía desde fuera. Supongo la silla por
The
la
only
edad, ¿no?
trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Aquí no podemos pasar y... Pues es el único comentario, ¿no? De esta habitación. Construida en 1937.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Mujer de 72 años.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind. But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house. Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
Vale. El primer Finch. Aquí no puedo pasar. ¿Qué es esto? Por Sven y Eddie. Otra puerta secreta.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book. Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Era como su cuarto oscuro, ¿no? Para revelar fotos. Milton.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Sam y Calvin. Espérame, antes de ir. Quiero ver que no se me pasa. Fuerte Sam. Fuerte Calvin.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did.
Sam es el que tiene la cámara, ¿no? Supongo que somos Calvin en este momento. ¿Y hay que columpiarlo?
At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready!
Coming! But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
O sea, se cayó del columpio y...
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Ahora sí vamos a ver qué hay por acá.
passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Ah, esta es la parte de fuera de la casa. O sea, lo interesante está por acá. ¿O no? Porque esto también
Growing
se
up,
parece.
I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Ah, no, sí, esta es la habitación de Barbara. De Barbara.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
El final sorpresa de Barbara Finch.
Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Esto es como para practicar. Bueno, no.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Aquí es donde se mochó su papá, ¿no?
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
Relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Todo está ambientado según de Halloween, ¿no?
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
She played her part beautifully.
Ahora esta es la habitación de Molly, ¿no?
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
¿No será otra vez su novio?
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
Bravo! You were wonderful! The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
A Edie todavía no la marca, o sea, no. Barbara Street. Por aquí no podemos salir. Y supongo que ahora con esta historia pues ya...
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
¿Y dónde estaba la caja de música?
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key. A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Entonces ahora de aquí sacamos la llave, ¿no? Pero lo que encontremos ahí lo vamos a ver en el próximo capítulo. Espero que este haya sido de su agrado. Si fue así, no olviden dejarnos un gran like, compartir con sus amigos y familiares y suscribirse si aún no lo han hecho para que nos sigan apoyando. Nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.